What is going on, guys? Welcome back to an episode of Ringside Chatter, where today's episode is a little different than most. It's very unusual and very much
sombering news.
Sombering news. Yeah, we'll go with that. I must say before we get into the conversation that viewer discretion is advised for topics such as sexual assault, sexual allegations, along with other things are triggering. That this episode will be talked in detail of some crimes that allegedly taken place in London, Ontario in 2018 involving the World Juniors of Canada. So once again, if you get triggered by sexual assault and stuff, please leave now, as this conversation will get heavy. So today is January 24th, 2024. Also, Scal's birthday. The news came out from the London, Ontario police in regards to the World Juniors that they have now asked the 5 players who are unnamed, but with a lot of discovery, we think we have concluded who they are, to turn themselves in. The London, Ontario Police Department will have their own press conference on February 5th. That's a week and a half from now, so I'm assuming that gives players time to get in, get questioned, get charged, as that is what's going to happen. Again, they are innocent until proven guilty. It is a very heinous crime that their alleged accuser has laid on them. So I don't know how much news you know about this, Scalz, but like we were just talking a second ago, you didn't put 2 and 2 together until today.
Yeah, when I was at work, I went on my lunch break. I saw Carter Hart yesterday has decided to take a leave of absence from the Philadelphia Flyers.
Citing personal reasons.
I immediately thought it was going to be, taking a break from mental health. That's a big thing going on. But then today I get the news that 2 players from the New Jersey Devils are taking leave of absences for personal reasons as well. And I thought it was a little bit coincidental that if one day after one player does it, now 2 are doing it. And that's what made me dive into it a little bit more.
Right. And there was a player days ago that did it as well through the Calgary Flames organization, which would be, I can't
Dylan
say his name. Dubé. They cited, and I think this is really shitty on the organization of the Flames, them citing that it's mental health related, I believe. I know.
I didn't even notice that he stepped away. I have him in one of my fantasy leagues, and it just went from being healthy to being out. It didn't specify.
And like with Carter Hart, this is, I think, the 3rd time he's taken a leave of absence due to personal reasons. Ironically, in those 3 incidences, it's all happened since the news broke in 2022 that the London police were reopening that investigation. Hindsight is 2020. We look back now and say this makes sense. He was a wreck because now it's coming to light. There's another player,
I'm trying to find the list.
It's on. If you go to my personal page there, you'll see I posted. It's the 5 players. But either way, we have a guy that was drafted, I believe, by the Ottawa Senators. I can't remember. Scal's looking up the name here. He was drafted by the Senators and dismissed by management, and now he's playing in the Swiss Elite League. And as of today, he also has taken a leave of absence and is en route to Canada. Coincidence?
Okay, so today was when McLeod and Foote from the Devils had stepped away.
Right.
Dylan Dubé was this past Sunday, and the player from the Switzerland National League A, his name is Formenton.
Yeah, and
He's 24. He was a 2017 second-round draft pick of the Senators, who did not re-sign him in 2022 after his contract expired, despite holding his rights.
right. And I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that. I mean, this is all speculation still. That these 5 players, it's all speculation, are the ones involved. But I believe the latest one that you mentioned there, I believe that was 100% confirmed already, just because of the things that have gone down. He hasn't played in the National League since.
Which that was going to be my question. Did the Senators know? And is that why they didn't re-sign him?
Right, but now you look at Foote, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was a Tampa Bay Lightning player, and now it really makes sense to why so many draft picks had to go with him when he got traded. Because I feel Tampa knew that this was going to come to light, so they need to protect assets on the Devils side, so that way when he gets kicked out of the league, they're protected. And then today with Daniel Briere, the Philadelphia Flyers general manager, stating that he hasn't spoken to Hart or his representative. Okay, I find that extremely hard to believe, because if you're an organization, but the reason I find it hard is, how do you let somebody just take a work absence but not speak to them or their at least representative?
I think it is more along the lines of them not being allowed to say anything about it.
But I understand, but don't use the wording "I haven't spoken to," because that's bullshit, right. And we all know that. You've spoken to him. Maybe you're not allowed to say what you know. Maybe he's not allowed to say what he knows. But you've spoken to him to grant him that time.
Mm-hmm.
Because the owner's not going to grant him that time. It's the general manager that would have to. Like, it's very... It's heartbreaking, right? Also, this is going to trigger some people, and I'm not trying to. I'm not 100% on the victim side. And I'm not playing, it's a good old boys club of hockey. It's the old boys will be boys mantra. No. There is video evidence, or at least a video. I don't really know if the evidence points to the 5 players, but it does point to her at least, where she is sprawled out, allegedly unresponsive, on a pool table somewhere at a party in London. It doesn't look good for the players. 100% does not. The problem I'm having here is, at some point in that video, she is heard to be saying, "I like it." I am not dismissing the fact that maybe she wasn't in the right state of mind. She didn't know exactly what was happening. I understand where this could go. And I'm not deeming her allegations invalid. I'm not deeming what they did as right. What I'm saying is, until we have a full understanding of this situation, we have a lot of people jumping the gun. No matter what, these 5 players that are involved, it's disgusting behavior, and I would assume the NHL is going to ban them.
It's weird because the NHL did an investigation into this after the lawsuit was public back in 2022. So the NHL lost an investigation and nothing came from it.
Nothing came of it because Hockey Canada paid hush money.
They settled the suit in May of 2022.
Yeah, which I think was really amount of $3.7 million or something. Like, which is really shitty, because you know what really sucks for that is that $3.7 million that was paid, or whatever the amount was paid to her, comes out of my pocket, because I have kids in minor hockey, and Hockey Canada uses our registration fees and our fees that we pay yearly as a way to now battle this legal case they have to deal with.
Right.
And that's not even made up. That is 100% what is happening, because they need the money from somewhere.
Has to come from someplace. Might as well take it from there. They have so many people playing hockey, but
I don't like the fact that I'm covering legal fees. That's not disclosed in my registration fees.
But it's so like, and then once everything was settled in October 2022, London police investigators said in a filing to the Court of Justice that they had reasonable grounds to believe that the 5 members of the team sexually assaulted the woman in a hotel room. The evidence has not been tested in court yet, though.
Right. It's all, like I said, it is all circumstantial. It's all speculation. What I think, and this opinion has been shared, I'm not going to out the opinionated people on this. The people I talked to today have all kind of drawn the same conclusion, and I haven't steered them any which way to this. This girl knew where she was going, knew who was going to be there, because Canada just won gold. They're all partying. Very unfortunate that she got herself into a situation which I believe you would call getting a train ran on her by 5 of the players. I believe there was 8 originally, but 3 have been dismissed.
Well, it says that there was 8 involved, but only 5 of them were players. So I feel like 3 other people were not on the team at the time. It was just maybe friends.
It could have been just party goers at that point, yeah.
Right. But it said that only 5 out of the 8 were players. So that's why we're only discussing the 5. We have no idea, any recollection of the other 3. And right now there is no charges filed against the players. They're just being brought in
to be charged
for questioning and then in the process of being charged. So nothing's been filed yet. No charge has been filed, but they will be once they get there. Yeah. And they discuss with them, and they were told a time frame that they needed to be back there by.
Yeah. Well, naturally, it's a time-sensitive case, right? I mean, it's only taken, at this point, 6 years to get to where we are.
7, wasn't it 17?
No, 2018. The problem, that's why I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm not trying to trigger anybody. Don't try to cancel me. I'm just trying to play prosecutor and all that, both sides here, right? So it's one of those hard situations because in the world we live in, sexual assault is taken very seriously, as it should be. And players of the stature of these men, if true, allegedly, are at least 4 of them are NHL players. And it puts a tamper on so many things. There's also rumors. I don't think anything will come of this. Given the light of the situation now, there could be a possibility of Canada not being represented at the Olympics and Canada not being represented at the next World Juniors. I don't think anything of that harshness will happen. But I mean, we've seen a similar situation with Russia, given their enhancement use. I think they've been banned for 10 years from Olympic action and all that. I don't want to see it happen, but I can agree with the double IHF if they decide to do it. Like, you have to punish the organization, right?
Well, this past year with the World Championships, they held these players out from participating. They were not allowed to participate in. Anybody on that team was not eligible to participate in the championships.
Yeah, the 2018 team was not allowed to participate in the men's IHF tournaments in any way or form, or the Davos Cup or anything. They weren't allowed to represent Canada organization, period. And I mean, for a hockey player, that's something you dream of, right? You dream about representing your country at an Olympic stage or tournament stage. I live roughly 2 hours from London. I was like, fuck, I kind of want to go down there and sit outside the detachment for the next, but like I'm just wasting my time at that point because there's no way I'm going to get anywhere to get actual media coverage on this.
Right.
Because they can come in the middle of the night. They can have a cop car go out to pick them up. Nobody's going to know who's in the back of the car once they pull up. Like, there's so many ways around it. But if guilty, I feel like Hart, Dubé, Foote, and McLeod will be indefinitely more than likely suspended, 100%, and more than likely banned from the NHL.
I don't know. I mean, I can see that happening. That would be very harsh in regards to the NHL taking that stance. I'm not sure they're willing to do that.
But if you don't, there has to be a precedent set, right? Because of the Kyle Beach thing in Chicago, that was some nest that the league covered up and the organization of Chicago covered up. So if you have these organizations, which would be Tampa, I don't know where McLeod was originally drafted. I don't know if it was Jersey or not.
No, I think he's been with Jersey the entire time.
So you would have Tampa, Jersey, because Foote was drafted by Tampa. You'd have Tampa, Jersey, Calgary.
Yeah, I think Dubé was originally drafted by Calgary.
And then, you'd have to have there has to be some kind of sense in the scouting organization of those organizations that knew something. And Philly would be in trouble too.
See, he was already part of the Flames organization when this took place.
Yeah.
Dubé.
Which makes that a little bit worse.
Because he joined them right after this, but he was drafted in 2016.
That roster also included the great defenseman of Colorado, Cal McCarr, but he wasn't at that event, or at least at that party.
It's Michael McLeod, right?
Maybe.
Because there's multiple McLeods. Yeah, Michael. He was drafted in the same draft in 2016 by the Devils.
Right. So the Devils would have to know at least a little bit. You can't. I'm hard pressed to figure this out because you can't tell me these players did not give their organizations any kind of heads up that they're in trouble.
Cal Foote was drafted in 2017 by the Lightning, so a year later than the other two. I feel bad for his father, who was a Hall of Fame player with the Colorado Avalanche.
Right. I always thought, see, this is the weird thing too. When Foote's name got brought up, I always thought that he was an American because his dad played in Colorado around the time he was.
You got to remember, though, they moved from Quebec.
Right. But by the time that Foote was born, I believe he was playing for Colorado. So
yeah, but
he would have been born in Colorado, but maybe that dual citizenship allows him to pick which country he wants to play for.
You mean when he was born? Yeah, okay. I remember now. I get what you're saying.
Maybe they just allow him to pick the country. But like I always thought he was American. So now again, with that being said, these 5 names, it's very circumstantial that we're all just digging and it's all coincidental. I find it hard pressed though, because given the fact that I know the roster makeup and those 5 players are on that roster.
Yeah, I mean, it's not circumstantial anymore that they're part of it.
No, but
it
until
just depends
things
on what
are
comes out.
Formally addressed, they are circumstantial, right? We have to report it properly. It is all very much circumstantial until the names are released, which we should know within the next week. They
said that the London police are going to be doing a press conference on February 5th.
Yeah, which... if you think about it, the NHL is in Toronto between the 2nd and 4th. So having a representative from the NHL at that press conference would probably be a good idea.
Mm-hmm. So or at least someone from the PA.
That's probably why they're doing it on the 5th, because it affords them the opportunity to be there already. Because London to Toronto is like an hour and a half drive. So it makes sense, at least in my opinion, for that to work out the way it does, because you're giving it a week and a half without any kind of updates seems odd when it comes to police investigations. Like, this story has been national news in Canada all day today, like on and off different news channels. Twitter has been a fucking
See, that's
minefield.
when I looked into the players. That's when I found out the connection, because I'm down here in the States,
Right.
and we didn't see that. Like, we haven't heard on kept up on all that.
Yeah, well, it's not
I've heard of the
really.
allegations, I've heard of different things, but I've never really dug into it.
Well, realistically, there's no reason for you to. It doesn't really affect you, right? And it doesn't affect. I mean, the only part it affects me is my wallet because I'm paying for these legal fees. But
Right.
on the other side of things, it really doesn't affect me. None of these players are Leaf players. None of these players are Rangers players. I wouldn't have really dug into it. And you know what sucks is I was a fan of Carter Hart, but if this allegation is true, I'm going to be pretty disgusted with myself.
Well, you couldn't have known.
I know, but it's going to be disgusting to know that, you know, I cheered for this kid for so many years and he was hiding a dark secret like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, we talk about it in the world of professional wrestling all the time. Like, how many times have allegations come to light where you look up to somebody and then you find out something that's not so good? You know what I mean?
Way too often.
And it sucks, but now this hits closer to home for me than you, and it really, these are conversations now I have to have with my oldest son, who is entering a couple years behind where they were when they did this. You know, like, these are conversations I need to have. Hey, man, if you're out partying with a team, just don't do shit stupid. You see a girl passed out, leave her the fuck alone. You see someone trying to fuck with her, help her. Don't encourage any behavior of that. You know?
Yeah, I think your son has proven himself in certain situations to where you can trust him to do the right thing.
I know he can, right? But, like, he is a hockey player. He's very, like, it still very much is a boys' club mentality. It has not changed much since I played.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and there's some things I like about it, obviously, and there's some things that need to change. And the whole boys will be boys excuse needs to kind of go away.
Right. We got to get away from that type of setting.
But that is the news on the 5 players. I don't know if you have any more you want to indulge in. I don't have much more. I'm sure, or if you want to hear more updates, I will make sure that we feed them out through Off the Top Twitter as they come out to us. But as for that, I'm just dumbfounded that the fact that we finally figured out the 5. You know, it's been a couple years. I mean, there's been speculation for a couple years of who it could be, and everybody on that roster, including Cal McCarr, was a target. Right? Like, there was no way around that. You had to kind of pick through it, and we now have the 5. So
I'm gonna have to go look into this roster and see and get more involved in this now.
It's not the greatest roster though, and that's what makes this so much worse. I know that sounds weird to say, but, like, none of these are like the highly touted prospects that most teams have had. You know, they're not depth heavy.
Taylor Radish, Drake Batherson, Kyrou. That's a big one.
But it's not like every other World Junior team. Like, this is maybe
Cale
1 to
McCarr,
3 players that are actually.
Now, yeah, it's really only those Cale McCarr, Kyrou. Yeah, that's.
I think Victor Mente
Wow.
is on that roster too.
He is,
but he was in the
shout out.
NHL when this all went down because he reported right back to NHL camp after the tournament.
Crazy.
Yeah, I don't know, man. We're just going to have to unfold here in the next week and a half and see where this goes. I'm sure we'll get confirmation over the next few days of who is who, though.
Yeah, I'm sure the news will keep trickling out.
There will be media coverage somewhere on it.
If there's anything else, either myself or Shadow will bring you the news, whether we do it again with a short video or drop it through Twitter like he had said.
But that's Ringside Chatter breaking news. Cheers.
So, thanks for everybody stopping by. Do what you do. Like, share, subscribe. We'll catch you guys again soon.
Keep your stick on the ice, motherfuckers.